Hey everyone, it's Roger with Village Craft and Candle. I'm really excited to share with you our new YouTube series called Create by Village, where I get to be in our communities, visiting our makers, entrepreneurs, and small businesses to get a better understanding of their entrepreneurship journey and what Create means to them and the beautiful products they get to make to deliver to you. Come and join me while we visit Market Candle Company in Newmarket, Ontario. Guys, I'm super pumped to check out this storefront. Look how beautiful it is and how warm it is. We get to meet Shabi Monzavi, the creator of Market Candle Co.
Hey
Welcome,
guys.
Shab.
Thanks so much, Roger.
Oh, thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.
Super pumped to have you guys here.
We're gonna take a really close, deep dive look of Shabi's amazing business, the brand, her story, and her wonderful personality, and how this company became to be what it is today. Come and join us. Let's take a walk.
Awesome.
So we're walking through the back here, right? This is where you're producing.
This is where the magic happens.
This is where the magic happens. I love it. What a great space. So walk us through. So like, what happens in this space here? What are you guys doing?
Oh
Is this
gosh.
storage, production, a bit of both?
We are doing all of our production here in this area, as well as our finished product storage. Also where the good vibes happen, our little lunches. And we also have a beautiful showroom in the front where our local customers can come and hang out, smell things in person, which is a huge deal when dealing with olfactory products.
Yeah.
And then in the back, we have our warehousing facilities, our shipping, and our order fulfillment.
Amazing. So let's start off. You started around 2017?
2017, I made my first candle for my bridal shower favors.
Yes, amazing.
Not the smartest candles I've ever made. Didn't realize it at the time, but my friends loved them. And I started getting messages and they were like, we want more. So I started testing batches. And the first candle I ever made was with citrus and sage from Village Craft and Candle.
Oh, right on.
And by 2019, I fully launched Market Candle Company. Out of my basement, things were chill, friends and family, launched with a great website, got a professional photo shoot. And then by 2020, things really escalated when COVID hit. Stores were closed, people were at home, they had that disposable income. And we found that candles were a really big way for people to kind of preserve their mental health, preserve their spaces. So I do have a little bit of survivor's guilt there because it was a really hard year for a lot of Canadians, but it was actually a really big milestone year for my business.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And what's funny is that, you know, we've spoken to a lot of business owners, not necessarily in the crafting space specifically, but they've kind of had a similar discussion where it's like they started in kind of the kitchen table, the basement, the garage, and then made that decision to make it a full-time business. What really inspired you to become a business after you realized a little bit of early on success?
Christmas 2020 was a big deal for us, and we had ultimately just maxed out my house. My husband was very supportive of my business, but we had 18-wheelers coming to drop off skids of wax on my driveway. I had hundreds of people showing up on drop days to pick up their orders. We didn't have a single spare room in the house anymore. I had taken over the basement, the garage, the main floor, and I said, okay, it's time to reassess how we're doing this. This isn't really working as a home-based business anymore.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you're going really from being comfortable in a home to potentially taking on space that you didn't know if it was going to work. And that's a big jump and something that you may have not have done before. What gave you that level of comfort and that drive to be like, let's make that step as an entrepreneur? And I know a lot of people were in your footsteps. And it's like, you know, they may not have had as much confidence. And what gives you that confidence?
I have a really great mentor who's my dad.
Oh,
and he's an entrepreneur himself. And I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified when I went to go sign that first lease because it's a very large financial commitment. You don't know what's happening. The economy's crazy, it's up and down. But ultimately I knew I needed to sign that lease and get the business out of my house in order to take it to the next step.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you must have had an emotional roller coaster throughout the way. Ups and downs, and you know, sometimes us entrepreneurs figure that if we're in the downs, we don't know if we can continue any longer. Walk us through that emotional journey. I know as an entrepreneur, the roller coaster never stops.
It never stops.
What makes you keep going when you've hit the down point, and what allows you to get back up?
I think there's a few ways you can look at things. Ultimately, I know I have a great support group, both in-house with my team. I do hire, I'm a little biased. I'm not just hiring based on skill. Personality is a huge deal for me. Also my industry friends. And I think it's so important because as much as, you know, you have competition in an industry and we're all kind of making the same thing, we're sourcing from the same places. Ultimately, it's really important to have those people that you can talk to, whether it's about product development or maybe a defect or an issue or an industry direction. I just think it's so important to have those people that you can rely on. And ultimately taking a step back when things get a little cloudy, when things get a little dark, when things get a little stressful. And once again, I'd be lying if I'd said business ownership is part of that. It's not all wins. There's a lot of
Big
downs
time.
to go along with the ups.
Big time.
Just really being able to remove yourself from those situations, take a deep breath. I'm a big fan of a spa day reset. Taking a step back from those situations, resetting, coming back in will really give you that clarity and insight I need to move forward and make the right creative decisions.
No, that's awesome. And I see a bunch of product, laid out on your shelves here and whatnot. And in our space, there's one thing that I've realized is that we can make product and sell it, but what I find distinguishes one from another is a brand. We're really, really familiar with how authentic your brand is, how authentic you are, and how you want to distinguish that in what you produce. Walk us through, product R&Ding and development and how it ties into who you want to be as a brand and the brand equity that you present in the market.
You've said the word that is my favorite word, which is authenticity. And I don't use it lightly. I show up in all forms of me. Chaotic, messy hair. Sometimes you get a blazer, sometimes not. No filter, no makeup. I spilled my coffee on my Instagram stories the other day. I'm like, throw it up there, who cares? But people love it. They love the relatability of it. And I think that's a big thing that I channel into my products. They're a reflection of who I am. They're a little bit of noir. They're very simple, very approachable. Our price point is approachable. Even when you walk in the front door to our showroom, the person who's greeting you at the front is an approachable human being. And I take such pride in that. Ultimately, I think if you're gonna be chasing somebody else's ideas, you're never gonna feel at peace. You're never gonna be satisfied with what you're putting out there. So for me, it's incredibly important to just stick to what's in my gut. Sometimes they're not always wins, and that's okay. Sometimes I make a slightly, a jump decision, a little too quick, a little too snappy. They're not always gonna be wins, but I know when I go to sleep at night, I'm doing what feels right to me, what feels right to the brand, what feels right for our community, what feels right for our customers, and that's what matters in the end.
And it's awesome because, as you continue to develop a product line and you've got a pretty extensive product line here. So kudos to you because it takes a lot of commitment, a lot of discipline to kind of stay in that lane, to maintain that brand authenticity. But as you start expanding that product line, walk us through what goes in your mind as an entrepreneur to implement new systems and how to maintain the brand without kind of deteriorating from what you originally started with. And when is it time to bring a new product in? When is it time to switch gears? Like that's the challenge when you're trying to grow and what you've done.
It's always been a challenge because when it was just me, I could do whatever I wanted to do. As I grew, and especially when I ended up having my son and I had to take a step back from the business for a few months. And so that's when I really had to kind of assess systems, recipes, everything was up in my brain until about 2022 when I actually had to start writing things down. Now, as we're growing, we're expanding, we need to be consistent. People have certain expectations from us. Our retailers have expectations from us. Our customers are like, this smells a little bit different. I'm like, you know what? I probably didn't write that recipe down from 2 years ago and it's probably gonna be a little off. So over the years, and honestly, it's been a lot of trial and error. Ultimately for me, consistency is incredibly important. When we're launching something, we have to do it right. We have to do it consistently, especially at this scale, at this level. And with the amount of investment that we have to put in upfront for those things too, we can't just be winging it. It has to be done properly.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've kind of hit on an interesting part here, which is the investment. And so, when you start a business and you have this concept, we'll call it ideation, everything seems doable. Until you start realizing, there's dollars and cents associated to what we need to implement to get things kind of from ideation to execution. How do you manage the investment expectation and how do you kind of stretch it along the way while you're still building a business and making sure that you can kind of support what you're building?
The cash flow dance is a dance. It always will be, especially when you're a smaller business. And before when I was just operating out of my house, I didn't have overhead, I didn't have payroll, I didn't have to worry about those things. And that's the business element. So when you're just having fun with the creative side of things, I was spending my money on whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. When I had to start thinking about the actual running of the business, I had to kind of rein it in a little bit. We've established our product lines. I'm very confident in where we're at. If I'm investing in something like a beautiful new vessel or maybe a new fragrance or maybe a new photo shoot, there's certain times of the year, obviously we know we can prepare. And for the candle industry, especially in the home fragrance industry, Q4 is our busiest time of the year, and Q2 and 3 have a tendency to be on the lower cash flow, lower side of the year. So there's always a little bit of a dance. I'm big on building my nest egg. We're really creative in how we're generating cash flow. We do a warehouse sale at the end of June, early July.
That's cool.
It's the slowest time of the year for us, except for that, which is a huge injection for us, and really allows us to kind of do what we need to then invest for the things we need for Q4.
That's cool. And so what do you suggest in terms of, planning? So let's take a business that's kind of in startup stage and they really want to get their brand out and known. What do you recommend in terms of, in our space of, candle making and home fragrances? When should you start planning for the busy season?
Ooh, last year.
Last year.
So this year is a really exciting year for us because we're actually not changing a single thing.
Oh,
this is the first year where we are not fully redeveloping all of our products because we find that it is incredibly time consuming to plan. And especially as you're scaling, when you're just starting off and you're maybe doing a market, you don't owe anybody anything. You get to do this because it brings you joy.
Right.
When you're getting bigger, you have retailers that want to do their Q4 purchasing in Q2, Q1, they want to plan for next year. They want to give you that PO and walk away. So you really have to be ready almost a year in advance if you want to be dealing with those larger retailers. If you're dealing with independent boutiques, if you're dealing with your local direct to customer phase, you could pour something out the weekend before and have a nice time and bring it to your local craft market, right? So it really does depend on the scale. We're at a point where we are probably operating and executing about 6 months in advance to make sure we have a good head start and we're not kind of left hanging or in a crisis situation.
Okay, so now we've kind of got planning. What about production? And so now we're, let's say, getting into just before Q4, we're entering into Q3. We have customers ordering from us regularly. How long out are you producing products? So we're staring at a tray of products that's about to be poured.
These are wedding favors for a wedding that's happening in just a few weeks.
Cool.
Which is super exciting.
So that's an easy schedule.
It is
you know
when the date is. We know when the date is. We know our drop dead. We also know that certain fragrances love a little bit of a longer cure time. And that's something that we've definitely learned over time. Some definitely work off, within a week, they're great. Some need 2 weeks. Some I find that over a couple months, just incredibly transform so much differently. So we find that we're pouring for seasonal drops a couple months in advance. We'll start, especially at the scale that we're operating at now. We will put them on a skid or 2 skids in the back and let them sit until it's time to launch. And then obviously sometimes things get crazy. We're still a small business. If we get a great opportunity for a big order, we're like, pour them, ship them in 2 days, get them out the door. Let's do this.
You'll fit them in regardless.
Correct. We make things work, and that's one of my biggest prides of my business is our flexibility and our ability to execute things kind of on a whim when required, because we kind of have our shelves stocked all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you have a really cool facility over here, and I noticed you've got retail in the front, you've got kind of production in the middle, and you've got storage in the back. How are you managing all of that? Like if, there's only so much storage available to you, but then if a big order comes in and you want to fill it, how is a business like this managing these little spikes and surprises that come up once in a while?
Sometimes it gets a little nutty in here. I would be lying if I said it wasn't. Sometimes
is product going back to the house as secondary storage?
Sometimes we are kind of working with our neighbors. I've definitely knocked on my commercial unit. I'm like, hey, if I get this order, can I throw a skid in your back for 2 weeks while we wait for the truck? Usually it's just me doing a little bit of a dance in the back. I want to make sure it's safe. So sometimes I'm like, please just don't go to the back today. It's not safe. We've talked with local storage facilities. We've talked with our neighbors. I never want to bite off more than I can chew. We've definitely gotten close a couple times, but that's part of entrepreneurship. That's part of the journey. But otherwise, we're kind of managing with what we do. We took on a really large custom gift box order, and this place was chaos for a week and a half. I said, we cannot take a single order. We just have to do this and only this. It was absolute chaos. We got it done. It was beautiful. We had, 7 skids out the back door. It was beautiful for our business where we were at. That was a big milestone for us, but it was a little crazy back here for a couple weeks for sure.
Well, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask the business owner what her first product was, her favorite product is, and what is she excited for about any other products to be coming out. So let's walk on the product wall. Let's take a look. Let's start us off. What was your first product that you've ever designed and launched with your business?
Our OG is our Italian Spritz candle.
Okay, my favorite drink.
Can you smell? Correct, it is inspired by the Aperol Spritz. This is
exactly what it smells like.
Am I
on
allowed
a drink.
to tell you what's in it?
Oh, it's up to you,
This is actually VCC, citrus and sage.
Okay, perfect.
So that was my original candle, inspired by cocktail. When I first opened my business, I was very food and beverage inspired. It's our OG We love it. Our customers love it. It's never going anywhere. I can't. I'm too emotionally attached to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that is essentially what kickstarted the brand.
Correct.
Right? And
Correct.
the whole brand kind of concept and feel is continued on from what you call the OG. Okay, favorite product.
Okay, I'm biased. Right now, it's Daydream.
Okay.
She is this like beautiful kind of sensual citrus.
Yeah.
Quickly becoming one of our best sellers, clementine, sandalwood, jasmine, and vanilla. She's so good. Our customers are absolutely loving her.
Yeah.
Also, we call her Candles Girls. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm getting the gist of it.
Yeah. Strong
awesome.
female founder
Awesome.
principles.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
we love her. People are loving her. We launched that fragrance about a year ago, and it's quickly climbing up the charts.
All right, so a couple of things we noticed here is A, you've got a wide assortment of product, which is awesome to see. B, you've mentioned that you're kind of creating your own blends on some of these fragrances where you're not sticking to a single fragrance, you're mixing them and you're doing your own little cocktail.
Love a good scent blending session.
And that's part of the brand.
Correct.
That's you.
That is one of our definite pride and joys.
Which is super awesome to see. If you can walk us through what you're excited about to come out, if you can share with us, whether it's a new series of fragrance blends, possibly a new product, whatever it is, I'd like to kind of see where your head's at, because this is a growing space and you've got an awesome brand continuity strategy here.
Actually, this is a great question. We've had a scent that we've kind of used as a short run scent over the last couple of years. People keep coming in, they keep asking for it. We didn't really have a name for it. We were like, call it signature scent, call it this, call it that. We don't know. We're launching it in its own collection in all of the variants, reeds, sprays, oils, candles, and it's gonna be called Noir.
Ooh.
So I'm so excited for that because people have just been knocking down the door waiting for it.
I love it.
So really excited. Noir is obviously an extension of who we are as a brand, who I am as a person. And I'm really excited just to kind of like give it a home, give it a name. And also just like a little bit of SKU management this year, because we've had some time, space and energy to really look at the analytics, pull up what's going on. We're kind of doing a bit of management this year to allow room for other opportunities for growth.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so this is an interesting question that I've always wanted to ask business owners. You've been in business now for 7 years, somewhere around there. With what you've known now, today, the Shabi today, if you were to go back and speak to the Shabi when you first started, what's a couple of pieces of advice that you would want to tell that person who's starting out that business with the knowledge you have today?
I'm like, don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I would probably say, walk, don't run. Because I do have a tendency to do that. Yeah, walk, don't run. Have faith in yourself, and get ready to exceed everybody's expectations, including your own. I love it. I love it. And so, as you know, we've created this new series called Create by Village, and to me, create embodies a number of different definitions, so to speak, and it could be physically, emotionally, mentally, professionally, personally, depending on the day that you're having, the day you want to have, the person you want to be, the person you're striving to be, or the person you are. I have my own way of understanding what create is. What does create mean to you, and how do you kind of feel you can use that on a day-to-day basis, and whether it be motivational, inspirational? To me, I look at it and say, today is the day I get to create whatever I want in every aspect of my life. How do you, as a business owner, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, what does create mean to you? I get to wake up every day and do what I love. Yeah. From the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed. Even if I'm not loving every moment in that day, and I think it's important to acknowledge, because there's moments, of course, as a mom, as a wife, and as a business owner, when I'm ready to pull my hair out. Yep. Ultimately, I am living the life that I have created for myself, and that brings me incredible joy. I know that I get to control my own destiny. I know that if this doesn't bring me joy anymore, I can squash it. I know that, ultimately, I'm creating and the creative life is not for everybody by any means, but I couldn't be happier with my decision, and I know that I'm going to do this for as long as I can, because it's what gets me up in the morning. And that's what it's all about, and this is why we're doing this. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks, Robbie. This was awesome. This was so fun. This is an incredible space, and I wish you nothing but success. Thank you so much. And lots of growth, and you have an amazing brand, and we're just so fortunate to be able to kind of work with you and be able to share in some of the successes that you've had, which is incredible. We're going to drop your socials, your website link, where to find your amazing products, how to get in touch with this amazing brand.
And we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Roger.
Honestly, this is awesome.
You're the best.
Guys, thank you so much for checking in. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.